Hi, today's video is about knowing your basics so that you don't write code that does absolutely nothing in the context, knowing your defaults so that you don't set values to the exact same value they had before by default. And it's going to be about CSS using this example that I found on CodePen, but it can apply to any programming language. So let's just maximize the panel, and as you can see here we have just some gradients layered on the body, so those mixins do nothing, the styles on the div do nothing, so we can just remove all that stuff, just take it out completely, and it makes no visual difference. Okay, let's collapse that comment as well. Let's bring up DevTools, because this is why I'm using Firefox here. I want to show you something. As you can see, the top and the left properties are grayed out, and this is because they do absolutely nothing in this context where we don't have a position explicitly set to relative or absolute or anything different from the default of static. So if we have a position static, then offsets like top, left, bottom, right, they do absolutely nothing, which is why they're grayed out in DevTools in Firefox. Width, again, does nothing in this context. It would do if we had a scroll bar on the HTML, but it's not the case here. Padding, again, it's 0 by default, so yeah, we can safely remove it. We can safely remove those first 3 declarations, and nothing changes. Then ellipse is the default shape for radial gradients, so we can just remove it altogether, replace it with nothing, and as you can see, nothing changes. Then at center is the default position for radial gradients, so as you can see, again, nothing changes by removing it. Something else I find, of course, you can see the first stop being 0%. Again, this is the default, so we can just remove it, replace it with nothing. The last stop being 100%. Again, we can just remove that, replace it with nothing, and the result remains exactly the same. Something else, it's using these keywords. I find it a lot easier to use numeric values because those are easier to visualize graphically. So I can just visualize the box and the rulers on the side, the 0%, 100% at the other end. So bottom would be 100% vertically, left would be 0% horizontally. So we're going to have 0 horizontally, 100% vertically. And here again, to right, I find it a lot more intuitive to use 90 degrees because I can visualize the circle, whereas with left and right, like which one is which, like I have to look at my arms, you know, where do I have that scar, which is left and which is right. Then we have these values that are RGBA, but with an alpha of 1, and we can just reduce them to RGB. So we're going to use a regular expression here, so RGBA, and we're going to need to escape both the opening and the closing bracket, and then we're going to have the RGBA groups. So first we're going to have for the red, right, so and then we're going to have similar group for the green, and then one for the blue, and then we're going to have one for the alpha, and then we replace this with RGB, and we take the first group, the second group, the third group, the one for the blue, and just like that, and replace them all. And as you can see, nothing changes visually. Something else I want to show you, here we have a first stop at 0% and the second one, identical one, at 75%. Now, when these are identical, we can just remove the first one because it doesn't really help us with anything. So something else that kind of annoys me, but again, I think I can just do this with replace, add a space after commas, and of course you can have double spacing here, but let's fix that as well. So yeah, this looks pretty good. I don't think there's anything we can simplify further in terms of the background image. We can of course remove this last background blend mode, which does again absolutely nothing. Nothing changes if we remove that. But overall, this is it. This is how we can simplify the code. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you like the work that I've been putting out in general for more than 8 years now, you can be a cool cat and support it on Patreon, or you can get me something off my Amazon wishlist, or you can at least share this. In any event, thanks for watching, and until next time.